Okay, so is this a full run or just a dip? So the answer is not entirely sure yet. This is an incredibly long game.
Well, what did you have occur? So the last time that we played, yeah, we have obviously.
Well, last time what happened
head.
was I sacked a bunch of people onto that machine because I didn't understand
And the
how it
machine
worked.
destroyed a number of them.
Yeah.
But
And
then also, didn't you get you got that one anomaly that was creating static, and that thing could go haywire at any moment.
yeah, so what we're probably going to do is just do a number of runs.
And then you ran into the
where
spider.
We go as far as we can, and then realize that we're kind of, not screwed, but like we're just not going to be able to fully recover from it. At which point we start over, potentially even from the beginning, try a bunch of new things and rinse repeat over and over again until we're comfortable with potentially going with like an optimum route where we get generally the easier to manage SCPs. Probably? I don't know.
SCP.
Yeah.
I thought you said SE.
Nope, SCP. I just say C kind of similarly, especially if I'm doing SC. Because I
could
just
see
do
how the S would go
SCP.
into the C.
I just hold the S for longer. Let's see. Anyway, I guess I could just end the day.
I suppose so.
Ironically, that's somewhat close to how you're supposed to farm for 100%. Yeah, I figured as much.
The only unfortunate thing is we're going to have to skip through all the dialogue. Unless you want to see if there are the alternate options or choices. Oh.
We even did this, I think. I thought? Face the fear. Yeah, I
really?
thought we did.
We have done this one?
I'm pretty sure we did this one already.
Oh, is it because you instantly died in the first attempt that we tried?
I don't remember.
But don't those options potentially have a influence on what you become?
Oh, do we want to customize? Nah. I'm just gonna hire people. I'll save my lobs for later. Okay, so Charlotte is set up with Zane. Let's see. There we go. So Summer will be
the pause from Poe Day.
our fighter, kind of. Okay. Oh. That's different.
Whoa, what? When did we get this weird
I don't remember
fairy?
picking this.
Oh yeah, we did pick the fairy.
We did? Okay.
Yeah, remember? You specifically liked the idea of there being fairies.
Okay, well, let's just find out if they're any good.
It instantly bites their face off. Ah! The scariest rendition of fairies I've ever seen were from Hellboy 2. Know the true meaning of the fairy's care? Well, she seems to be doing well. Are you doing attachment?
Yeah.
Oh, they're super
It
happy.
likes that, and we've got fairies.
Little fairies? Oh. I don't like the idea of there being small versions of itself out and about.
Okay.
Outside of containment.
Ah! If an employee under the fairy's care is assigned to a different containment unit, they'll immediately die and be consumed
by the fairies. Oh, so that guy has to take care of the fairies forever.
You just have to wait, it looks like. The fairies go away after a certain point.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No more fairies. I guess way to check would be, let's just switch it up.
Uh-oh. I suppose we'll see.
Yep.
Began Hellboy 2. Wait, oh no!
It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, in Hellboy 2, they had the Tooth Fairies, and the Tooth Fairies love nomming on people's teeth and their bones. And they were horrifying. And they were pretty toothy themselves.
The fairies disappear pretty quick, too. I think. Okay. So, it looks like... Oh! So they actually prefer instinct and low-level attachment. So that's actually... That's good for us, though. Let's see. So in that case, I'll have them just work instinct instead.
Can you safely doing instinct with the fairy?
Yeah. Yeah, so fairy likes instinct and low-level attachment, which means the fairy is really good early game purple grinding, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So... Yeah, actually an ego weapon.
Fairy Festival.
Alright, so we just gotta get the escape info. And then we're good to go. Get back in there, Summer. But this feels like a good set. The noise machine wasn't terrible, but it was...
I didn't like the fact that it was so easy to escape containment. And then it would create static in the whole hall, and then that static would spread.
Okay, Summer. Charlotte. I almost kind of wish I could nickname employees after the fact. But I don't think I can customize them once I have them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, escape info. Does not escape either.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
No.
Oh, wait.
Give me a second,
But
there was a
Lord.
bug. Shell, there was a bug in the way. Chill.
Okay. A bug? Where's the bug?
It was the box.
Ah.
The box wouldn't go away.
It is a sacred act to be protected by fairies in any world. However, do not enter their containment unit just to have a bit of fun. If you've read a few books on them, you'll know that fairies dislike those who take advantage of their kindness. The corresponding document is only accessible by employees level 4 and higher. When Walter, who was under the care of the fairies, died in the room of another abnormality, we noticed some anomalies. His stomach and face were ripped off, and his eyeballs and organs were damaged as if they were eaten by something. Moreover, the containment unit Walter was found in was for an abnormality that uses psychological attacks. Meanwhile, the fairies had someone's blood and flesh smeared all over their mouths. We did not bother to examine them to find out whose flesh and blood it was. In our world, there are few outcomes that result from perfect kindness. Having fairies that live in a forest visit you just because they like you, or what you've done, or that you've done any good deeds, is only something that happens in fairy tales. Even though we know this is truth, we still sometimes become deluded, thinking that the fairies' care is happening because all the good deeds we've done, or the fairies are favoring us because there is something that makes us more special than other employees. The fairies are no more carnivorous monsters, more than carnivorous monsters, and their protection is their method to keep the meat fresh. When an employee enters another containment unit, they gobble them up in fear that they would lose their food to something else. However, the employees were greatly satisfied by the fairies' care, and we saw a drastic decrease in the accident rate, so we deemed it unnecessary to tell the truth to the employees. Really, then?
I love this soundtrack. It's so good. Let's see. Thought they meant another noise machine. Thought I missed something. In our first session, we had the noise SCP, the like static, but we reset the timeline. So what sort of SCP malarkey is this? This is build an SCP containment workshop.
One sin and hundreds of good deeds, and then the fairy festival.
I should probably just end the day. I just kind of want to train their stats, because I know that's helpful. But I guess really what I should do is just go until I have a bunch of fairy festival stuff. Because how expensive?
Oh yeah, look at that. Wing beat?
Yeah. We might as well go till we get their equipment. I forget. I think we can go one more day before we really want to do much for farming. Let's see. That said... I'm gonna send them out here. I want to get at least one piece of equipment on both. Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, both the melee and the armor. It's nice how you keep gear plus boxes between runs. Yeah! I like to get further on so I can actually get those, but mostly we've just got a handful right now. Yeah, so her temperance went up, and temperance and fortitude went up.
Oh, nice.
Oh, but it's only a little bit of temperance on this end. Huh. Okay.
Ooh.
Recording in the day we must never forget.
I don't like that one, though.
Isn't that just the machine?
It's the one with the static.
Oh, you're right.
However, the curse continues eternally never broken. And Taka to be forbidden in the end, loneliness was the only listener.
I don't think we did that one.
We haven't done that one yet. Because wasn't the curse... What was the curse?
Did we do the curse?
Was the curse... It wasn't the machine, was it?
No, I don't think so.
All I know is that we haven't tried the girl yet. Or the one who's supposed to talk.
Oh, here's the thing. These names will change. See how this is 1.76 megahertz? Threw me off because it's just, you know, numbers and letters in this one. So let's do this one.
Okay.
Yeah, so as we identify them, we will keep the names. Okay. Yeah, seen this before.
Oh. So, wish
Company to
determine
prosper.
Company to prosper. Your future is determined by what you do at this moment. Currently, you work for Lobotomy Corporation. In our company, you will see things that cannot be seen, and you will feel things that cannot be felt. You shall do impossible things. May your wish be granted. Perhaps you'll become the best manager I've seen yet. So, you may be asking yourself if your predecessors managed to fulfill their wish. I suppose
And
what
we've already seen all that.
what happened to the others is not important. All that.
Did Wonder briefly play the sequel game? Yes. Yeah, I did. I played a little bit of Library of Ruina, and then eventually was like, no, this is actually a little spoilery for me, so let's stop.
Yeah, in relation to the... Igor-y.
Okay. Well, Summer gets to be the fairy person. Igor gets to be the doggo. There we go. Alright, so what is this? What?
Is it an old lady? Oh!
It's Grandma! Let's go fight Grandma!
But what?
Fight Grandma!
That won't end well.
Fight Grandma!
And is she eyeless?
Let's do insight.
That is so creepy. Alright, zoom in. Let's see what's happening to this agent.
I don't think looking at Grandma was a good idea.
She's angry. Yeah, I noticed that they have different destinations. Some of them
Actually,
are...
this doesn't look that bad.
Oh, some
it's
of them
gonna
are
be okay.
What are the other primary letters that we've seen? Okay, I didn't get to see what that notification was, but what do we have? 8?
Okay, also attachment.
When an abnormality other than 00112 is worked with, the Clifoth counter is lowered.
Okay, so I think the answer is...
She's good for keeping the Clifoth level down?
Yeah, no, I think it's this. I think it gets jealous. That's okay. We can ignore the other two for a little while.
Oh, right. Lowered. You're right.
Yeah,
because
that
if it goes down, then that means it ticks down to 0, which then pauses it.
Anywhere causing the counter to go up. This one to go up, but no,
blind.
these
It still recognizes something. Watch her just be an old lonely lady who really needs to be chatted with 24/7.
Okay. When it
See?
reaches 0, here, I guess you can read it.
When the Clifoth counter reaches 0, black shapes form inside the containment unit. We decided to dub these shapes Solitude based on the condition in which they form. When the Solitude piled up, it stuck to Rhea when they entered the containment unit? Ava had to deal with continuous white damage until the Solitude eventually fell off. Until it was gone, they could not move or do any work. Oh.
So I think this one just gets lonely.
And that loneliness attaches itself to someone?
Yeah. Do they have to be in this room to heal, or can they heal in these rooms too?
Yeah, I don't know about that secondary room. Common and common.
Only the room with the green bar heals them. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that's what we discovered by
top.
Workday Complete. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to go out of my way to learn everything I can about this one, so we see what the Clifoth counter is. Because it seems like it's an easily managed one. It might not even be one that can escape. It's just one that you have to watch sanity because your character can lose it.
Yeah, I don't know if she could escape. She seems to be in a rocking chair. And quite frail.
Yeah. One thing we might want to do is actually send some characters out, specifically to boost some of their other stats.
If there was an object in your house that would become an SCP, what would it be?
I don't know.
Is there anything creepy or anything that you just look at and is ancient and you go, ew, that thing has history and could be haunted? For me, I could think of a couple of things. There were definitely some dolls that my grandmother had that were weird. Just, you know how dolls in general can be frightening.
Yeah.
This was one where you could flip it upside down and it had 2 different bodies, and the skirt would cover one body. Have you ever seen those dolls?
Yeah.
It's a really weird concept, but it's a way for you to have 2 dolls in one. The skirts just cover the other half of the doll. And oddly enough, that one that I'm thinking of was made by one of my grandmother's friends, according to my mom when I asked her about it.
Old lady.
Oh, yeah, look at her. Ah!
Her weapon.
It's just an old revolver.
Very fast and long.
Unescaping, so she is unescaping. Hey, we have a bunch of very... Oh no, she's unhappy.
Nope.
And the sadness. So they'll need to heal up, right?
Yeah.
I suppose another thing would be the old desk, or it's like a table that we got from my one grandmother. It has all these beautifully carved faces on them, but they're all angry. And I think the ones on the corners are supposed to be the winds, but they're not the cherubic winds. They're more blustery spirit winds. And then the central figure is a lion.
Hey, thank you, Juice Bags, for the raid, and welcome on in. We're playing Lobotomy Corporation, also known as SCP Zoo Tycoon.
Oh, do you know what? I hope my parents haven't thrown out. I better ask them that they never throw it out. But this is an object that I could see being a creepy SCP. So my father has this giant lamp thing with the most massive bulb I've ever seen on an internal lamp. But it has an attachment on it that spins a large, very thin plastic disc with a bunch of colored inserts in it for yellow in the center, but then it's red, green, and blue on the outside. And what it's supposed to do is you turn it on, and I think there might be a mechanism that very slowly spins the disc, but it's supposed to kind of create this weird disco aurora effect on the wall. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, it's just a very weird contraption to have. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it elsewhere. And I used to love turning it on and watching it as a child. It would heat up something fierce, though. I think it was something that was probably made in the 70s.
You see the lore of the old lady. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we haven't read the
We're
lore of
almost
the old
done.
lady
There we
yet.
go.
There we go. An abnormality taking the form of an old and feeble woman. Anytime someone enters its containment unit, it will talk to that person. What it tells differs from time to time, however, it will always commence with, "Dearie, dearie, would you like to hear a story?" This story could be a lullaby, an unspecified poem, a nursery rhyme, a common children's story, or something entirely new. It knows every children's story and will not stop recounting until the listener finally leaves. Man, this is going to be me when I turn 80 years old. Excerpt from counseling records. She may be the loneliest of all the abnormalities. She is filled with loneliness and tells her tales to fill that void. Well, every story needs a listener. When someone enters her room, she'll try to fill that void. Of course, listening to her is a very dangerous thing. She knows every story on Earth, and even those that cannot possibly exist. Our minds can't cope with such a thing. She could fry your brain in an instant. Really? Aww. I love stories.
So I will say, so far, she actually does not seem like a half-bad, kind of tier 1 pick. If that makes sense. She doesn't escape, and as long as you have a high enough as long as you have a high enough sanity stat, she is a non-problem. And So, like, I could very, very well see keeping her. Because one of the things I'm thinking is, like, if we can get this floor perfect, you know, with effectively SCPs that aren't too big of a... Like, it won't be that big of a deal. Well, dealing with all of these. And so if we can actually get it so that the first 5 days are effectively, like, we don't need to restart those because we're super solid. I might want to try and aim for that. Like, if we can get the machine for the last one or something. Because these are all extremely lazy. Neither of these care. Like, they don't have Glyphoth counters as long as I don't, like, screw up the one thing. And the old lady is pretty much a non-issue.
So long as you listen to her tales, she will be satisfied. Now, of all those items that I told you about, what kind of special abilities or malevolence would you grant them?
Wait, for what? Who? Sorry?
For the objects that I told you about. The ones that I thought that would be SCPs from my parents' house.
Admittedly, I'm still trying to think of SCPs that would even, like, be relevant on my own parents' end. Oh, you already did. Every fourth abnormality is a tool. Can't make energy, can be helpful. So the fourth won't be an issue. Awesome! So in that case, we might have got, like, a solved first floor-ish. Let's see. As long as I don't send Eagery in. Though those fairies don't stick around for very long.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about what in your parents' house would be anything remotely SCP-like or haunted. And the sad thing is, your parents, they became so minimalist and got rid of so much.
Yeah, we don't have much.
What do they have left aside from some furniture? I mean, what, the old chest? No, that doesn't really seem haunted to me.
Yeah. It's like it's a train bench that stores blankets. Like, that would be the most mundane and, frankly, uninteresting SCP.
What about all those weird sparkle glitter wands that you guys have? Nah, they wouldn't really amount to much. How about the old pennies on the wall? What would the old pennies on the wall be?
But they have, like, minimal meaning.
What do you mean by minimal meaning?
Well, like, they're not an object of power or anything like that.
And what makes the objects that I told you about objects of power?
Sorry, you have to realize, like, I tune out a little bit.
So did you hear about the ones that
I did, but I mostly was not processing. I'm sorry. Gun! Oh, I'm out.
Because, for me, the weird two-bodied doll, it could very well be...
Yeah, the weird two-body doll, but I feel like that'd be more of just kind of like a regular haunted object.
Well, the thing is, it could be a dichotomous situation where one side is good, but if it gets flipped around, the other side might be bad.
I don't know.
Huh?
That just seems real basic.
Okay, well then, what about the weird lamp? Would the weird lamp make you dance forever until you die?
Could see that.
The lights of this anomaly are absolutely mesmerizing, and will make anyone who sees the glimmering hues dance along the walls dance in turn. But beware, if you dance too long, you will fall to exhaustion. And I don't know. I'd have to actually pen something. It's hard to improvise.
Oops. Oh, it kind of works. Looks like Charlotte's fine. Okay. Oh, but I did lose my PE box quota.
Oh,
for that.
Do you know what's one? I think maybe one of my uncles has it, unless I don't know. I always liked playing with it. But there was this really, really old... You know how I absolutely love deer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, my grandmother for the longest time, and I'd have to see if it's still in the family, but there was this old kind of velvety 1950s sewn deer that had very kind of stiff, crunchy stuffing on the inside, if you could imagine that. It was almost as though it was filled with sawdust or chips or something like that, in the way that some of those old dolls are. So it had kind of a white, rough fabric on the bottom, and it had a kind of green olive pine velvety exterior. And that kind of, you know, the old school velvet that just doesn't feel right? It feels tacky as opposed to soft.
Yeah.
It's that kind of old velvet. And it had those, you know, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer deer that were in the old stop motion? Imagine the kind of body shape and head of that, except a little bit more simplified and kind of half-lidded, embroidered eyes in black thread. And it had golden antlers that were... It kind of was like bent wire was on the inside, and you could clearly feel the bent wire, but it was also done in a kind of mustard-colored velvet for the antlers.
Yeah.
And I loved playing with that doll as I was a child, but the unfortunate thing about it was where the head met the neck and the body was its weakest point, and it would always fall off to one side. Like, not completely off, but the head would kind of dangle one way or the other. And so whenever I played with it, I would wrap a ribbon around its neck to hold its head upright.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? If you know what I mean? So that's another thing that I would consider from my like grandmother's house or within the family. If I were to designate another kind of SCP thing, just that head that, or the deer that couldn't keep its head up straight.
Okay. Eventually, intellect loses all meaning, as they forget even how to exist, or excessive aspiration would bring about unwarranted frenzy.
Ooh. Now it's interesting. Look at how one's an O and one's a T. Now,
yeah, I don't know what those stand for.
Well, the thing is, the O one.
So I was actually going to say, for people that know, you want to tell us which of these is probably, I'm not going to say optimum, but convenient. Because, yeah, I'd very much like to, not have to reset back to day one if I could. We might still have to eventually. Yeah, I know you must be happy it's the same as last time. So we've got excessive aspiration would bring about unwarranted frenzy, and eventually intellect loses all meaning as they forget even how to exist.
Both of those sound creepy. The frenzy and the losing intellect. I don't know if you've gotten a T one yet, have you? But the frenzy doesn't sound good.
Let's go with the first one.
You want the intellect one?
Okay. And this is the same as usual. How do you feel? I'm not sure.
Why would you say that? Is it not normal to be happy in a situation like this? For your information, I had practically run here. All just to deliver this great news to you. And that's a figure of speech, of course, but I did not expect you to react like this. It'd be nice if you were to be a bit happier. Today's a rather special day.
Do you see that oh, right, it's the bottle of champagne thing. Don't drink is the other option.
I don't want to drink right now.
Oh, do you want to save it for later? That's fine. There'll be many more occasions on which to toast. However, manager, please refrain from drinking alone when I'm not around. A toast is only worthy when there's a companion around to clink glasses together.
Okay. want to expand the control department. I want to make a new person. Let's see. So we got a new thing. Because, yeah, we need a 4th person. Now, it's really tempting to customize this person. But, you know what? We're just going to get Frank. Frank is cheap. Frank is cheap and worthless. So, to compensate for Frank's existence, we are going to get Max, who has very high prudence. Max is now our old lady listener. Frank is the man that we stick in the machine and leave there for the rest of the mission.
Oh, look at that machine.
It's an eye.
Oh, that's weird. All right. Hey, Frank, get in there. And Max, that is your job. Let's see. Work success very high. Oh.
Oh, wait, what happened to them?
I don't know.
They don't look good. Returning, cancel, return, returning. Oh, no! Ah! What?
Are they even in there for at all?
No, what happened was he went in there, left, and somehow the orb disappeared. And then when you put the orb back, he tore his eyeballs out.
All right, let's try that again. Frank. Frank, go, Frank. That was weird. Oh, he just wears the thing. He just takes the orb with him. Oh, it's a tool.
I wonder what it can be used for, however. Yeah, it's putting some stats up and some stats down. It was purple up and white down.
All right. I guess he'll just carry that around for a while.
But what happens if he were to go into another anomalies chamber? I don't know.
So, should I use Frank on anything?
What's happened to Frank's stats?
Oh, that's fine.
Uh-oh. Old lady is
Yeah.
middling, not okay.
It's okay.
So let's see. We really can't think of anything in your house. You're like your parents' house.
Overwhelmingly, but you gotta remember, like... Alright, here we go.
Ooh, look at that. Wait a minute. It looks like a CD player. Or something.
Kind of, yeah. Wearer will enter a panic if in order to return the behavior adjustment within 30 seconds of equipping it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna not do anything with Frank, and hopefully that's fine. I mean, otherwise we could just sit around for a couple of minutes. I guess that would work. We'll finish with the old lady here, and then we'll just wait for like 2 minutes. My only fear is that Frank specifically needs to, like, do something while he's got the eye.
Okay, well, we need to figure out an anomaly from your parents' house or from your childhood. So there are no toys you can think of. Or objects.
Not exactly the same.
What?
Grandmother's basement.
Yeah, but that's a locale. Is there anything in the basement that was specifically bad?
The thing about the basement, it was...
All the dead bugs.
No, that's boring. When I was young, my cousins were dicks. Still are? Question mark? I don't know. I don't like them.
Oh, the lost Lego pieces.
Yeah, the lost Lego pieces. So, cousins were bullies and effectively shattered some of my Lego creations. I had like a lunar lander thing, I think it was. And, you know, I built it and I was very proud of it and I left it downstairs. And they roll in, make fun of me for a while, break the thing and scatter the pieces around the entire room. And for nearly a decade, every time I would go back, there'd be more of these Lego pieces. But I never found all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But every single time I'd come back, there'd be a Lego piece, just, you know, somewhere that I'd even checked before. That I remember checking and looking at and being like, no Lego pieces here. And yet I'd come back and there it would be.
Wouldn't it be creepy if someone had that happen to them and they kept taking the Lego pieces and attaching them to just a large block of Legos that they've been building with them, and then they realize in the end, wait, there are more Lego pieces here than the original craft that I had made. Bum bum bum. You know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so...
Did he return the object?
Yeah. So Frank, as long as he... So you can actually look at this.
Mm-hmm.
As long as Frank has the CD player, his justice stat is increased by a fair bit, but his prudence stat is reduced heavily.
Yeah.
So his sanity is is currently at like a 7.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as I don't make him do anything sanity related, dude is perfectly fine.
What stuff would require sanity? Dealing with an abnormality that...
Prudence and temperance? Well, no. Really, it's you have to look at this. So work damage, red 1 to 2. Old lady, white 1 to 3, except for if her ghosts get attached to you, and then it's like 20. And then Zane is 1 to 2. So pretty much as long as I don't send him off to go deal with the old lady, we have nothing to worry about. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Could also return it. It's true.
Do you know what would be a weird one?
What?
For an object? I'm just reminded of how, when I was little, I was obsessed with the fact that my father would always put holes through the big toes of his socks. I think it was just because he had narrow feet and just a pointy big toe. But I even wrote about it in... there was something for Father's Day where we were supposed to do a little illustrated book, and I drew my father and I doing all the things like that we would do together, like building shelves and watching Star Trek and the like. But there's this one thing, it's like, if you could wish anything for your father, what would it be? And I wished, and this is obviously I was a kindergartner or something, or a first grader, but I said, you know, I wish that my father's socks would no longer have holes in them, or that he would stop poking holes through all his socks. But I'm just thinking of all those socks with a hole in them.
This doesn't seem to have any lore behind it, I guess. Oh.
None at all. Oh, okay. Wander puts holes through all his pants and underpants.
Usually just because they're ancient, though.
No, there was that one pair that... Oh no, 2 pairs have gotten damaged recently. But they were the ones with the longer legs.
Oh,
and
you're right.
Your thighs
Well,
were
that's just
bursting
because
through
I've
them.
got, you know, big muscly thighs.
What, people are mentioning that IKEA can be a location of power? That'd be
I mean,
weird.
potentially.
Oh, that's funny. Just wondered his leg day or something. I don't know. He just... There is no fat on those legs. It's all muscle. Oh, that would be scary for IKEA, an infinite store. Where you just... Imagine if you go winding around all of the corners and it has the little arrows pointing on the ground. But no matter where you turn, it's just more and more IKEA.
Hmm.
And because there are never any windows in an IKEA store, you could just go on forever, right?
Yeah.
With no means to escape.
So I think the primo way to do Old Lady would simply just have 2 characters alternating, maybe.
Oh, people actually did establish it as a funny one for the online stuff. Oh, that's funny. Wander and I like IKEA.
Yeah.
I mean, how many pieces of furniture do we have in this room that are IKEA? 1, 2, 3. And I suppose one of the lamps. No, 2 of the lamps. Even Wander's desk is from IKEA. Even the chair in which he sits is from IKEA. Even the poang is from IKEA. And the poof... Okay, let me count it all up now. Now that I have a good... Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we have 9 IKEA things in this room.
It's just convenient.
And then what other IKEA stuff do we have on this floor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so we have over a dozen IKEA things upstairs. And some IKEA things downstairs. One reason why I enjoy IKEA furniture is just I like building it. But I need help with our new gaming bookshelf.
Yeah.
Because it's a 3x3 cube, which is longer than the ones that I usually build.
Yeah, I just haven't had a whole lot of free time for, like, anything lately, which has just been kind of wrecking me.
Yeah.
Like, today I got up and effectively had to prep the last of my videos for the day, and then make sure everything would work for that ARC sponsored video, or video stream, which did work up until the very end when I was supposed to be doing like an outro for the thing and it crashed my computer, so it's just like,
yeah.
And then, like, to some degree, it's also, you know, sitting down to play longer games.
People are saying, stream yourself building the shelf. Okay, when I was doing research on some of the other new varieties of shelves at IKEA, I came across the most disgusting YouTube videos in existence. It was just women wearing nothing but their undergarments or bathing suits building IKEA shelves. And I just, like, noped past those videos immediately, but how? How? That is just... Why do those exist? And yeah, I know. People are creepy. But it's just building IKEA furniture. I can understand people doing a how-to and explaining whether or not they think the product is quality, but ew.
I feel bad for Max.
For who? Oh, the guy that's just perpetually having that CD player attached to him?
No, Max is this guy. The guy that I made specifically to work with the old lady. Just gave him a very high sanity, so that whenever the old lady gets sad, Max goes in and just tanks the hit. Let's see.
Are there any objects that we currently have in our possession that you would think could be considered for one of these anomalies? What would the poof do as an anomaly? Oh, I have a great idea. So, for those of you who don't know what a poof is, it's just a very round footrest that's... sometimes they're filled with various materials. I think ours is just a big block of foam from IKEA, and it has this nicely knitted exterior that makes it almost look like a barnacle or a sea urchin. But I was just thinking, if it were to be one, that little round part at the top that I had to very meticulously thread a string through because it had torn out at one point, but it essentially holds the whole knitted thing together. It kind of looks like a little mouth at the top. Could you imagine one where it likes to have feet rested upon it, but if it is unsatisfied and you dare try to take your feet away, the little hole in the top opens up, it has just teeth, and it tries swallowing you? What do you think?
I guess?
Is that an interesting design?
I just... Not all of these feel like SCPs, they just feel like horror creatures that are kind of SCP flavored.
Okay, well then...
Think of all of these. This is an old lady that tells stories.
Okay.
But it knows... because effectively you're just giving a bunch of, weird haunted-ass objects.
So that's not what they are?
Not really.
What do
this one, for
what gives
example,
them the extra element?
This is Old Lady. Old Lady exists purely to tell stories because they're lonely. They're lonely, and they fill the void by telling stories over and over again. The Fairy Festival, it's not like they're a haunted fairy doll that eats people.
Well, those are just straight up fairies.
Yeah, but it's a twist on it because they're not just fairies. They're fairies that are very possessive of you. That, the classic fairies will help you no matter what. It's a play on that no, they won't help you no matter what. These fairies are possessive and they want you to specifically...
I mean, in Control, there were those weird ones where the powers that the objects displayed had nothing at all to do with their function in life.
Yeah.
Because what was the rubber ducky? It always had to be watched or could escape or something?
Yeah. That it would just
teleport
warp around
elsewhere?
A bunch. Because, not every SCP has to be bad. For example, One Sin and Hundreds of Good Deeds purely exists.
I mean, One Sin looks really creepy, but I suppose
it looks
it's
really
benevolent.
creepy, but it just wants you to tell you shit. It just wants to be told things.
Mm-hmm.
what wants to be told sins.
Yeah, it just kind of wants to hear, like, what bad shit you've been up to. It passes no immediate judgment. It just wants to be told stuff. And so it's like, I don't know. I think it's... Oh, Fairy Festival is not placated. I don't know. I feel like it's just objects and things and places of power.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of easy examples.
I mean, obviously,
even
one that you could think of would be artifacts or,
yeah,
you know, symbols of various faiths.
I mean, you could straight up just have it be
even the creepy body parts from various priests and cardinals and popes.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, Ben and Jerry's, like, some room or carton or something in associated with the, like, original Ben and Jerry's location that, like, every single day it's a different flavor of ice cream, and every single one of them is just, like, bizarre, and you're not sure if it's good, and then you have it, and it's good.
Watch
and that's
it
just
be,
all it is.
It be the way that they come up with new flavors.
Yeah, it's just a freezer that
produces a new flavor.
Just perpetually filled with weird
That's where they
stuff.
get the limited edition ones.
Yeah.
That
Except
would be
for,
an
like,
one.
maybe one... There's, like, some weird circumstance where it's just you do not open the fridge on, like, the 5th Friday of a month, if that ever happens or something like that. Just some, like, weird nonsense that's almost completely impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But if it does happen, you do not open it because it's, like, eyeballs.